Live from the 607, it's the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking everything going on in the world of sports. Join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag ODPH, because here we go.
Instead of looking deep inside, every word I have to say, keep it simple.
Welcome to an all-new edition of the ODPH podcast. What is happening, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us this week. My name is Ken M. Joining me in studio, as always, you know him. He's the co-host. He's a statistician to the stars. He's the man of 1,008 aliases. His name is Padawan J.
Let me talk to you.
And boy, we have a lot to talk about in the land of sports. You are tuned into the sports edition of the ODPH, if you haven't already noticed. And we definitely like keeping those conversations rolling with you after the show. So, Pad, where does everybody go?
ODPHpodcast.com.
For the blogs. For the classified section, which has friends of the show such as 3FN Podcast, Dragon Master Games, Nerd Initiative, and many more. The directory. Pat, how many providers are we on?
148,814.
And your source?
Trust me, bro.
So wherever you listen to the ODPH on. First and foremost, thank you for checking us out. Leave us a review on your favorite podcatcher. It definitely helps the algorithm. And if you like what you're doing, subscribe to the show. It all is a big bucket of win. Last but certainly not least, we have a fantastic music section where you can hear such great musicians as Brian Wolf and the Howlers, Second Sewer, Tom Jolu, Floodlands, and Shout at the Robots. The music you hear on the ODPH could be yours if you just follow and download and get involved with them as much as you do with us, because that's what we like doing here at the Parlay of Topics. And if there's anything else I might have forgotten, well, you can find it at odphpodcast.com. And remember, on social media, if you're still using hashtags, why not use the hashtag ODPHpod? There is a lot to talk about in the land of sports. Pad, where do you want to start?
Why don't we start with the thing that pretty much dominated, I think, social media talk over the weekend, and that would be Wrestlemania 41.
Yes, the Showcase of the Immortals, the WWE Super Bowl, the largest pro wrestling event in the world. I mean, honestly, New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom is up there, but I think at the end of the day, Wrestlemania takes it.
Yeah.
2 nights at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, April 19th and 20th, definitely generating a lot of headlines. Some for the right reasons, some for the wrong reasons. So we're going to break down the card that was and even a little bit of Monday night after, because there is some storyline fallout of this.
Yeah. So this took place in front of a combined announced attendance of 117,380 folks. So hell of a crowd they had there. Certainly electric throughout the night. But yeah, the card took place from Allegiant Stadium, as you alluded to, and starting on night one, opened with the singles match for the World Heavyweight Championship with Jey Uso defeating Gunther in 16 minutes and 30 seconds by submission to become your new World Heavyweight Championship. Or champion, I should say.
So, obviously, Jey Uso has had that yeet movement, much in the same vein as Bryan Danielson, Kofi Kingston, the underdog mentality finally getting to the big dance. And this storyline went as much as we thought it was going to go. I mean, there was a chance I thought Gunther was going to pull it off. Albeit, though, the only thing that really stuck out from this match, and it's not a good thing, is this was probably the closest to an AEW-style match that I have seen on WWE TV in quite some time.
Yeah.
There was a lot of finishing move spots that seemed to happen in quick succession that really took away from the storytelling.
And more so than it's just like, oh, hey, we're at the finish.
Right. And when they went to the finish, Jey Uso had a sleeper on Gunther, and Gunther immediately tapped.
Yep.
Like there was no struggle to escape. There wasn't anything. It was a very quick finish.
Yeah.
And I think it really hurt because at the end of the day, that's what you take away. Jey won, but the ending was ugh.
And to be clear, it wasn't like he put the sleeper, they went to the ground, and immediately he tapped. But it still was short enough of a time where it wasn't necessarily even believable that he, caused enough of an issue where Gunther would think to tap or be forced to tap. The match itself was fine. It was going pretty much the way I think most people figured it would. And I think for most people, they figured Jey would emerge victorious. But I agree with you. The ending, it's like the saying goes, it doesn't matter what you do throughout the match. It's the way the match ends that people are going to remember the most. And unfortunately, for as memorable as Jay's entrance was, and you had Gunther come out and how hot the crowd was and the near falls and everything else, what are people going to remember more about this match? Well, Gunther tapped out almost instantly.
Yeah. And that's a shame because it really took away from the story. It took away from the moment. I know The night after Mania, there was the quick recap of it, I guess you will. Jey Uso celebrated with his brother, and he also Sami Zayn. Everybody thought it was going to be a large deal there. It really wasn't.
I thought Jimmy was going to turn on him.
Well, it was setting up for that. And,
oh, Lord.
And that was a theme going on all of last night, too. So not exactly the great party, if you will. The only thing that really came out of this was Gunther choked out one Pat McAfee. And that was making the social media rounds this morning.
Yeah, it was making the rounds. Pat did make his usual appearance on his show, addressed it, and his boys, the co-hosts of his show, the Pat McAfee show on YouTube, ESPN, and all that, did talk about it and kind of their gripes of like, hey, why is security stopping us when he's choking you out? And their whole thing, Pat did admit, he's like, yeah, I blacked out. He goes... He got a hold of me, and the next thing I remember was Shane Helms was standing over top of me saying, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And they talked about that. And now some are thinking this is a setup for a match. This is a setup for, a confrontation between maybe. I don't know. He did say on his show, he addressed, well, what's next? I don't know. What do you want to do, Gunther? I'm down for anything.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We'll see. I mean, obviously, it's kind of a weird setup and fallout from that, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So we'll have to kind of wait and see how it all plays out.
Yep. Next match was a tag team match for the World Tag Team Championships, and you had The New Day with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods defeat Eric and Ivar of the War Raiders via pinfall in 9 minutes and 15 seconds to become your new World Tag Team Champions.
No real surprise here.
No.
I mean, the right move to make. I think the New Day, as the worst team ever, really is making some strides, and they're getting over and finally getting a true heel heat.
I mean, listen, it really says something about them that when they first kicked Big E to the curb, even the Judgment Day was like, yeah, we're not down with that.
Yeah.
Really says something.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously this is a great move. I like seeing this, and and I think they need this if they're really going to bolster that tag team division. It's nothing against the War Raiders by any means.
Right.
But the most over team on Monday Night Raw is the New Day. Love them or hate them. So this makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, if Big E wasn't going to be able to make the return, because I know there were some folks holding out hope he would, but I would like to see New Day win and run roughshod over that entire division. And, well, we're looking like we're going to get that.
Yeah.
Next up was a singles match with Jade Cargill defeating Naomi via pinfall in 9 minutes and 20 seconds.
Well, this is a unique situation. This match, I think, did more for Naomi than it did Jade Cargill.
Yes.
Naomi came out, brand new music, all new metal, if you will.
Yeah. Still
great,
trying to figure out who that was.
Great entrance, and really made a great presence to be involved. So that being said, I loved seeing their interaction, and especially for Jade Cargill, who we still remember is very new to the business, learning the WWE style. They pulled off a crazy powerbomb spot that, honestly, I was sitting there just going, okay, they understood the assignment. This is WrestleMania. You go big or you don't show out. And they decided to go big, and it definitely worked. And everything about that, like that was the big selling point. Jay gets the big win, moves on. For Naomi, it's a question mark of where we go from here.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's some time to make some moves. But I think getting her away from Jade is probably the smartest thing to do.
Yeah, and I know there's been rumblings of the draft coming up or a shuffling of the deck, as it were. So maybe if you flip her from SmackDown to Monday Night Raw, give her a fresh look on things and see where you go from there. Because I don't necessarily know if I'd believe her after eating this pinfall and then what little buildup there was to it. Because let's face it, when I say little buildup, there wasn't months and months and months and months of storytelling, and it was a couple of weeks. I don't necessarily would believe her going through a program and getting set up as like the next challenger to Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Next up was a singles match for the WWE United States Championship, and Jacob Fatu defeated L.A. Knight via pinfall in 10 minutes and 40 seconds to become your new United States champion.
If there was one match that was a lock this weekend, it was this.
Yeah.
Listen, we all live in Jacob Fatu's world. The man is on absolute fire right now. Is going to be world champ within the next couple of years. Don't even question that.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think to see what he is now going to do in this position he's in is just nothing but a big bucket of win. So I am personally very excited to see this happen. Long overdue. And even we had Haku come out at the end.
Love that.
Which, I mean, no security guard was even thinking about trying to stop him.
Oh, God, no.
With good reason. So we'll just leave it at that. But this was just nothing but a big bucket of win.
Yeah.
So
Good match for him.
Yeah.
Made sense.
Made sense. I mean, nothing really to write home about, but it definitely is a star-making performance. Now, I'm just curious about who his first opponent's going to be for said.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see.
Yeah, that's the only question mark we'll have to have answered on
Friday.
SmackDown this week.
I'm guessing somebody. I don't want to say returning. Well, yeah, kind of quasi-returning. I'm going to guess one of the rumored returnees. Of course, there's some rumors of who's getting called up SmackDown too. Well, I could see one of those.
I will say this. I don't think it will be Aleister Black.
No.
I do not see them crossing paths just yet. Down the road, sure. Right now, not really.
Oh, yeah. There's an NXT call-up I could see.
Well, I mean,
Trick Williams.
Yeah, but I don't know if they want to do that with him on the first program.
You never know.
I could see them rehashing him and Carmelo.
Oh, sure.
And him and The Miz right now.
Yeah.
But I can't see them putting him in front of Jacob right now. Jacob will have somebody new or somebody returning.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be anybody that they want to bring right up.
So the next match was supposed to be El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio. However, on the Friday SmackDown, so like the night before WrestleMania, Rey Mysterio, God, I got to watch myself here so I don't Freudian slip and name the wrong person. Rey Mysterio suffered an injury. If I heard or read the article right, it's a torn groin, which, ow. So he was out, not medically cleared for the match on Saturday, and instead in his place, Rey Fénix would be taking his place. And a hell of a run you're on there, kid. So in the match, though, in 7 minutes and 55 seconds, winning via pinfall would be El Grande Americano.
Well, this was one of the best matches of the weekend.
Yeah, it was.
Say what you will, Chad Gable is a superstar, and I absolutely am blown away by what he's pulling off here.
Mm-hmm.
Because he is now the second coming of Kurt Angle. We all thought this. I mean, obviously with the Olympic background he's had and such. But he's now mastering the character art.
Yeah.
And especially doing the comedic characters. He's now getting it, and I think he's long overdue. If he doesn't win Money in the Bank, he deserves a run with that Intercontinental title.
Oh, absolutely.
But this is a phenomenal match. Rey Fénix, I mean, listen, it's a sad thing what happened with Rey, but but that's the only suitable replacement you could have made.
Yeah.
And they put on a hell of a match, so great. I was super excited to see both of them get their WrestleMania moment.
Absolutely. Next up was the singles match for the WWE Women's Championship, and you had Tiffany Stratton defeat Charlotte Flair via pinfall in 19 minutes and 5 seconds to retain her championship.
Train wreck.
Yeah.
Absolutely train wreck.
Which we figured going into it.
Yeah, I mean, well, they had not been on the same page for many, many reasons.
Yeah.
Listen, just sometimes it doesn't work what you're trying to do.
Well, yeah, and especially given what had happened on screen, you know, and the promo work and all that, I think any hopes of like them being cordial enough to just do work together and put on a good match went out the window.
Yeah, I agree too. And I think that when they got in there, we found out that they just do not have good chemistry together.
No.
It's just sometimes, for whatever reason, it doesn't click.
Yeah.
And that was this match.
Yeah.
Nothing about this went in a good direction. I know some people were saying, oh, it's a street fight, it's brutal, blah, blah, blah. Listen, you can have that opinion, and if you found some value with it, great. But please explain to me how this worked, because they missed spots a lot of the times.
Yeah.
They were off cue.
Yeah.
They just weren't on the same page. And listen,
It was sloppy.
It was sloppy. There's no other way to describe it. It was just sloppy. But I am just happy for the outcome.
Yeah.
Because the outcome I was surprised at, and I don't know if they called an audible for it, but it was just one of the situations where Charlotte chasing the belt is an interesting story.
Right. And the thing for me that kind of was a letdown for this match is I didn't expect much out of Tiffany. It's her first WrestleMania. It's the biggest stage she's been on in her career, her young career, mind you. Mm-hmm. So she's not used to it. She's not used to the limelight and the spotlight and just how big the flashes are. You know, the camera flashes, so to speak. So in theory, your supposed best of all time, you know, sorry, Natalia, but, you know, the woman who's won more championships in that company than any other female wrestler that's come through those doors, in theory, should be the one to like, hey, you're gonna get the win. I'll walk us through it.
Yeah.
And at no point did it feel like, okay, things aren't working too well. The veteran hand took the lead.
Yep.
That she steadied the ship. She righted, the things from going off course and got it back on track. It was off track from the start, and it never recovered.
That's the whole point. It just was never on a good pace, and it was a mess from top to bottom.
And honestly, I'll say it felt like Charlotte was sandbagging her.
It definitely looked it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't argue that. For whatever reason, and we don't know anything backstage.
Right. They may legitimately hate each other.
But it's a situation that if you don't like your coworker, you still have to work with them.
There are several people in that company who do not like working or like CM Punk. Legitimately.
Yeah.
2 of those folks wrestled on this card, and both of those had programs with CM Punk and were able to put it aside and be professionals.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that apparently did not happen here.
Nope.
Because we had heard a lot of rumblings. The promo work kind of reflected it.
Yeah.
So we're just making the big guess about it.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. So I don't want to see this ran back anytime soon.
Oh, I don't either. I think Backlash is the next pay-per-view. There's no need for a backlash from this at all.
I really hope they don't.
Yes, Backlash is the next pay-per-view. So that leads us to the main event from night 1, which of course was probably one of the more anticipated matches of the entire weekend. And that was the triple threat match between CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth freaking Rollins, and winning via pinfall in 32 minutes and 55 seconds, although felt longer. Mm-hmm. And that's not a bad thing. Seth Rollins emerging victorious with a little bit of help. Partway through the match, of course, Paul Heyman, because of the favor owed by one Paul Heyman, was in CM Punk's corner. Wasn't really doing much. Wasn't really doing his usual stick. Seemed like he almost didn't want to be there. Mm-hmm. And then partway through the match, he gets a hold of a chair, and it's Punk on one side, Roman on the other side. And I know Rich was watching with us from 3FN podcast, and he's like, oh, he's going to slide it to Seth. And I'm like, I don't think he's at the right angle for that. Plus, Seth's literally on the opposite side of the ring. So Heyman takes the chair, slides it to CM Punk, appearing to side with CM Punk and forego his obligations to his tribal chief, Roman Reigns. Punk starts using the chair on Roman, only to get a low blow from Paul Heyman. Mm-hmm. And then Roman goes and starts attacking Punk. Seth, mind you, while all of this is going on, is like half unconscious on the other side of the ring. And Paul starts pointing, wait, look, my tribal chief, look, you can do to him what he did to you. I'm paraphrasing. And Roman goes over to hit Seth with the chair. And while he's distracted and getting set up to hit Seth with the chair, Paul low blows Roman.
Yeah.
Turning on both of them and joining forces with one Seth freaking Rollins.
It was an incredible sight to see. This is a fresh story that they can run with Seth and Paul.
Yeah.
It's never been done before.
No.
They will pull this off very, very good.
Closest thing that ever came to it was when he was with the Authority back in the day, but it wasn't even necessarily the same thing.
Yeah. So this will be a unique setup as they do progress with the story.
Yeah.
And especially after Raw after Mania, we had both CM Punk and Roman Reigns try getting physical with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
And they were thwarted by a new ally in this coalition, if you will.
Didn't see this coming.
Didn't see it coming. There was rumor because on the Pat McAfee show, Paul Heyman did allude that he was looking for help. Mm-hmm. It got brought up and they were looking for beef. It was kind of the paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Well, they found
one.
They found somebody in the form of Braun Breaker,
Ooh.
which this is beneficial on multiple levels.
Yeah.
Braun is a future world champion. Braun is very young.
Well, and don't forget, too, a couple months ago, whatever it was, Heyman was backstage talking to Braun Breaker.
Oh, yeah.
Long-term booking.
Well, it's long-term, but it's something that makes a lot of sense because Braun needs a little bit of mentorship, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He's been great in the ring on the main roster, promo and character-wise. Mm-hmm. Jury is still out. I think that's a very fair statement. It's not to say it's been bad, but is he a heel? Is he a face? What is he?
Yeah.
I think just working with Heyman will do wonders for that extra gear he needs.
I'm not knocking him, but about the only thing he's really known for, even by casuals these days, is how fast he is.
Yeah.
When he does the round the ring and they bring up, oh, he's got a speed of 20 whatever miles an hour.
Yeah, so, I mean, when they get the storyline rocking and rolling, I do think they're going to add a third in there.
Yeah, I know people are making comparisons to Evolution.
Well, yes and no. I mean, I understand what they're trying to go with, but I don't think that works here.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, you have the Shield reformed, but you name it something else, because remember, CM Punk was supposed to be part of that at one point. Or
right. Well, it was made for him.
Right. So they can spin it back some way, but they need a 3-unit to do it. And I think Karrion Kross is the perfect fit for it. I know that a lot of fans were speculating maybe Drew McIntyre, maybe Kevin Owens before he got hurt.
Well, and I know Becky's name has been, and we'll get to her in a little bit.
Right.
But her name is getting attached to it. But I think that's just because her husband's there.
That's exactly the point. They're not going to do that. I think that they learned from the time that they were trying to do the man and the man's man storyline.
Yeah.
With what was it, Baron Corbin?
Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans.
Yeah, when they were trying to do that nonsense, it just didn't work. I don't think they would go back to the well about that one.
Yeah.
I think they would try seeing about what other streams they can go swim. So that all said, I thought this match delivered on all its fronts, and especially for Punk having that moment too. The entrance, the video package, it was everything that if you're a CM Punk fan, you wanted to see him in living color on stage.
Yeah.
It played into making it a hell of a spectacle for night 1 to close on, a very strong ending from a subpar card.
Yeah.
And then we go to night 2, and the exact opposite happened.
Yeah, it was weird. So night 2 opened with the triple threat match for the Women's World Championship, with Io Sky defending her belt, winning via pinfall in 14 minutes and 25 seconds. Hell of a way to open this card.
Women's match of the year. Whew. Already.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
There's no question about that. They all really wanted to come out and steal the show. They could have made an argument to be the main event.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand why they went with the main event they did, but after seeing how it all played out in the ring, this was the main event early.
Yeah.
And they absolutely crushed this. Io Sky getting the win, much needed.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Not mad about it, because she has been...
Family was in attendance?
Well, she's been the one that lost in the shuffle here.
Oh, absolutely.
Rhea, who, by the way, came out with an homage to the Batman Who Laughs. That's
what that was.
For her entrance gear.
See, I'm looking at it. I thought it looked familiar, but I couldn't pin it.
I sat there. The comic nerd in me was smiling from ear to ear.
All right.
So her coming out, she understood the presentation. She understood what needed to be done. Same thing with Bianca. But for Io, this was a moment that I think she really needed to win, and especially establish herself like, hey, I am one of the top stars here. I deserve to be in this moment, and I shouldn't be just getting shoved around in a storyline.
Agreed.
So hell of a way to pull this off. Love seeing the ending. Obviously, Monday Night Raw was a little more weird with Stephanie McCure.
Yeah.
And what they're trying to set up there.
Well, I think they were just doing a night after WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be anything other than maybe introducing the main roster fans, because let's face it, as Rich has said, as you've said, on Wrestling Night Live, on 607 Podcast, on everything, that there are folks who just watch Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and that's it. I have family who are in that camp. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
But there are folks who do not watch NXT, and I think this is just a way, much like they did with Roxanne Perez a couple months ago. Like, she's still in NXT, but it's just getting some fans. Hey, these are some people coming you might want to keep your eye on. I think it was a little bit of that. I think Stephanie McCure showing up on Monday was just one of those WrestleMania night after Raw moments. That's like, hey, anything can happen. You never know who's going to show up. It was a cool match. It was great to see them. Hell, see that for quote unquote free. You got to pay for Netflix, but you get the idea. If to see that on free TV, not on a pay-per-view was incredible. I tell you this, after that match was over and you had Julia and Roxanne Perez standing in the ring, that's a tag match I would like to see.
They will run that. I would not doubt that that's Backlash.
I would love to see that ran.
Either that or NXT. I could see that being there.
And then you had Mommy come out in the whole thing, and you can make that a fatal 5-way, and I'll watch that.
Yeah,
that'd be insane.
I don't think they're going to do that.
No,
I think if anything, they're going to set some groundwork for the rumored all-women pay-per-view.
Oh, Evolution 2.
Yeah, Evolution 2.0. I think they're going to set some groundwork, do some teasers, kind
Sure.
of see what the crowd is at for it.
Because they're announcing cards way far out. What did they announce during Monday Night Raw? That
Survivor
Series is going to be in Petco in San Diego.
Yeah, so
which is wild.
So they're announcing a lot of stuff early. So like I say, I think they're going to test the crowd early.
Sure.
So we'll have to see how it all shapes out.
Yeah.
But I think for opening the night, they did a hell of a job with it. And then on to the next.
Next up was the Sin City Street Fight, where Drew McIntyre defeated Damian Priest via pinfall in 13 minutes, 55 seconds. And I got to say, I think out of the weekend, Damian Priest might have had my favorite entrance.
Oh, with Kerry King from Slayer?
Yeah, Kerry King from Slayer playing his entrance out. Oh, my God, that was awesome.
It was wild. But
yeah,
they really knew about making this a big deal.
Yeah.
Like everybody, I think, that had huge entrances. Even the New Day... and the War Raiders doing the homage to the mobile game there.
Yeah, Clash of Clans.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that's still something. You need to do something different. You need to stand out in the crowd.
Listen, New Day's WrestleMania entrances peaked at WrestleMania 32 when they did Dragon Ball Z out of the Bootios.
Yeah. So
that's just me, though.
So in this situation, this made a ton of sense. And especially Drew getting the win, I think was the right call.
Agreed.
Damian winning, you could make that argument.
Doesn't really need it, though.
But I think at this stage, Drew needed it more.
Uh-huh.
And I think that now you have to kind of go, where do we go with him from in this stage? Mm-hmm. Like I said, him being the third part of the Rollins coalition makes sense.
Yeah.
Him just raising holy hell on SmackDown makes sense. Like
I think it's going to probably be that.
Yeah, I mean, you can see a lot of different directions. He's going to be filling in that Kevin Owens role. Because it now apparently looks like Kevin is truly injured.
Yeah.
I know I kind of left the window open that maybe we were getting worked.
Sure.
But, I think in this stage, Drew's somebody else you can plug and play with.
I think Drew's going to fill the Kevin Owens spot that they just plug and play. They need somebody to fill a role and do a match. Boom, there's your guy. Because as we'll allude to later, he's not going for the belt on SmackDown anytime soon.
No.
Next up in the card, though, was the Fatal 4-Way match for the Intercontinental Championship. And boy, you called it. Winning via pinfall in 10 minutes and 30 seconds, your new Intercontinental Champion, Dominic Mysterio.
About damn time. Listen, this was just what it needed to be. It was fun. Mm-hmm. It was wild. It was crazy.
The spear breaker did from one table to the other.
Yeah, it was just all over the place. Like I say, but that's what you want from a 4-way. And it shows how deep that mid-card is right now that you could pull this off. But if you're going to take the belt off of Braun, which I thought was time to do, and I don't think that you were going to give it to Penta just yet. Penta is going to win it at some point. It's just a matter of when. Dom has put in the work, and I never thought we'd be saying it on here, but we're saying it on here. He is vastly one of the most underrated members of the roster. He has put so much work in to get better that he has really stepped his game up, and this is a moment he deserved, and he's over with the fans organically.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's going to turn face anytime soon, but people love to boo him, but it's not just angry boos. It's a respect thing.
Yeah.
So, huge win. Love seeing him run back in the ring after.
Yeah.
To celebrate everything about this was just win.
Yeah. Next up was the open challenge Randy Orton had because, well, he was supposed to face Kevin Owens, but then unfortunate circumstances took place. Yeah. Kevin Owens has or will have surgery. I don't think he's had it yet, according to reports. Anyway, so Randy didn't want to miss WrestleMania, so then he said, hey, anybody in the back? I'll be out in the ring. Let's go have a match. Randy came out there, and I know a lot of names were thrown out there. Rusev. Nick Aldis, I know, was thrown out there at one point. Sheamus, Miz, who's who was thrown out there. But emerging out of the doorway to the complete shock and surprise of a lot of folks, because I know the name was thrown out there, but I don't think anybody legitimately took it seriously. Like, yeah, that's going to happen just because of the circumstances being what they are. But answering the call and making his WrestleMania debut, say his name, and he appeared. I believe in Joe Hendry. Such a good moment. Got a pop. Randy obviously won via pinfall in 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Now, to anyone saying, this match buries Joe Hendry.
Stop.
Please.
Stop.
The man started wrestling in small buildings overseas in front of like 100 people. And he basically, and I'm not saying this to slight him. I'm not saying this to insult him. He memed his way into a match in front of like 60,000 people. Because let's face it, if you don't know his whole shtick on the indies before he made it and started signing with some of the major promotions, was whoever he was going up against, he would take a popular pop song and then parody it in the style or in making fun of his opponents. I know the one you brought up was what was it? There was the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah, Wrecking Ball.
Wrecking
by
Crew.
Miley Cyrus.
And there's the Wrecking Crew, a group called the Wrecking Crew he was going up against. So he parodied Wrecking Ball by Miley Cyrus. I'm sure you can still find some of these on YouTube.
He's covered so many on the pre-TNA days.
Yeah.
And where, like I say, where his journey has taken him.
Yeah.
Like I say, he has literally mastered the art of parodying in wrestling.
I remember watching him on YouTube when What Culture was doing their pro wrestling thing, WCPW, which all their stuff was broadcast on YouTube way back in the day. But to see him get this moment and to see TNA get this feature, because let's face it, I know the name was like, they talked about doing it with Jeff Hardy, which, okay, that would have been fun for nostalgia's sake. I don't think it necessarily would have gotten the pop it did with Joe Hendry.
No, it definitely wouldn't.
And anyone who says TNA never got anything out of this deal going forward, you're categorically wrong.
Let's put this in perspective. Going in there against Randy Orton is a big moment.
It's one of the greatest of all time.
Yep. And for TNA, who continues to get attention in their Forbidden Door deal with WWE, they had their champion show up on a marquee event, marquee event.
With a graphic saying TNA champion.
Exactly. How can you sit there and say he got buried? He was in there. He had a WrestleMania moment.
Loudest pop of the weekend, I would say.
Oh, because it's a complete shock.
Yeah.
Nobody saw this coming. Went out there, did his thing. They told a quick story, which is all they needed to do. And now fans are going to be wanting to check out who was this guy if they didn't know him already. Yeah. They're going to tune into TNA pay-per-view coming up this weekend.
Absolutely.
It's nothing but a big bucket of wins, so you can't be mad about this at all.
Yeah.
You can't be.
Next up was a singles match where Logan Paul defeated AJ Styles via pinfall in 17 minutes and 50 seconds. Boy, that did not feel that long.
It did not feel that long, but this one, I think if we have to say other than the main event, which we'll talk about, probably the worst match of the night, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not the worst thing I've seen all year, but it ain't certainly in the top 5.
It wasn't the worst thing of the weekend.
No.
But it just seemed like they were also not in sync, but they're also professional enough. They bounce back.
Yeah.
Logan's, love him or hate him, can go in the ring. It's something he's always done. AJ, one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
It just didn't seem like they were on the same page.
No, it didn't. Good match. Like, it was fine for what it was. To me, it felt like the perfect moment in between, the open challenge and then what came after. It felt like that kind of match where, like, all right, we just need to let the crowd calm down for a while because we can't keep them at that sustained, excitement for that long because they're going to be burned out by the time the main event comes around.
Yeah.
So it was that perfect, like, all right, they got to come back down. Like, it was fine. It wasn't the greatest thing I've ever seen, but it was fine.
It was fine for what it needed to be.
Yeah.
I would be it though. Karrion Kross making his appearance. Really lit some fire, and
then his promo over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about it. I mean, he bared no expense about voicing his opinion about current events.
Boy, if that was kayfabe, did a real good job selling it.
Well, I think that he understands in this new era of WWE and where you need to really make yourself stand out amongst a very loaded and talented roster. I think he understands more than anybody.
Yeah.
You need to have a moment. You need to get on some radars. You need to be that squeaky wheel, so to speak.
Yeah, because then let's face it, that happened. And then Monday Night Raw, somebody had a sign on the hard cam side saying push Karrion Kross, which I'll be honest, might not have seen had this moment not taken place.
Right. And that's something that I know that he's really been showing. Is like since he's come back there, he's done everything they've wanted him to do. He got away from that gladiator-esque gimmick.
Oh, thank God.
And I think that now he's getting a little time to show his skill. So one of two things is going to happen. Either he's going to win Money in the Bank, join the Rollins coalition, or he's going to get released. One of the two things is going to happen. I know I kind of said Rollins and that Money in the Bank because I think that he would win that by being a member of that group.
Could be.
But I think he's elevated himself that, he's going to get a marquee program with somebody now. Otherwise, they're just going to cut him outright.
Yeah.
And we'll have to wait to see it. But I don't think Triple H is going to do that because I think Triple H, more than
he
anybody,
got cut under the Vince regime, and Triple H brought him back.
Yeah. Well, there is
Triple H loves the guy.
Well, he knows that he can talk on the mic and he can go in the ring. It's just a matter of finding that gimmick that works.
Well, and I know he's been on Main Event the last couple weeks, and he's gone back to his old like black and white entrance.
Yeah, and
which worked.
And he understands. Just get on TV. That's all he needs to do. So I know some people are complaining. Well, that's where he is. It's like he's still on TV, folks.
Yeah, he's still featured every week.
Yep. When you don't see him, then I get worried.
Yeah. Next up was the tag team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, who were defending their belt against Lyra Valkyria, and was supposed to be Bayley. However, what was it, some point Saturday, Bayley got taken out by a mysterious individual or individuals. We don't know who it was, but she would not be able to compete at WrestleMania, and as such, Adam Pearce gave Lyra 24 hours to find a partner. I think for everybody, it was fairly obvious who it was going to be, and it was a returning Becky Lynch, and winning in 8 minutes and 40 seconds, winning via pinfall. You had Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch become your new women's tag team champions for all of 24 hours.
Yeah, this took away from this match.
It was a great match.
Great match.
Great moment.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, well, especially for Lyra, who, since she's been on the main roster, has really struggled to find her footing with the fans.
They got Zack Ryder.
Yeah, I mean...
No, they did.
Well, I mean...
Zack Ryder won the belt, IC belt, and then lost it 24 hours later.
Right, but Zack was more over than Lyra was at this point. Like that's the key thing.
That's true.
Lyra is not there. So the fact that she's the IC champion.
Yeah.
She was a co-tag team champion.
Double champ.
Like, so there's faith in her with the company. There's no question about it. But it's just a matter of finding, like we say with Karrion Kross, finding the right program.
Sure.
She hasn't done that yet.
Sure.
So the fact they get the big win, it's the heartfelt moment, the mentor and the student get the belt.
I think Lyra's family was there in attendance.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure too. But when they had their match, they rematched the next night.
Yep.
Well, they gave the belts right back.
Yep.
And then that's where Becky Lynch turned on Lyra. Now, I understand why.
I'm not mad they turned Becky.
Right. I understand why they turned her heel, because you knew there was no chance in hell she was going to get booed returning.
Right.
But the problem is you really throw away everything you had built up with Lyra away, unless there's one way to salvage this, but this is going to get messy.
Okay.
Bear with me.
Okay.
Backlash is going to be Lyra versus Becky.
Probably.
Becky is going to win the IC title.
Okay.
And there could be a post-match beatdown of epic proportions.
Okay.
That will draw out Bayley. Now, this will be the feud for the IC title heading into SummerSlam. Because I think at this stage, having Becky be the IC champ is fine. You can definitely have her work with a lot of the new talent on the roster. But her and Bayley in a program at this stage where both of them are main eventers, I think is huge, and I think it only help that belt.
Sure.
Even though I don't like Becky having it.
Sure.
Because Becky doesn't need it. Becky is an instant Hall of Famer whenever they want to put her in.
Yeah.
For what she's done with this gimmick and really elevated the whole stock of women's wrestling.
Yeah.
So that said, that's the only way you can salvage it. But I think you burnt a WrestleMania match to do it, and I don't like that.
So I agree with everything you set up for the IC title match and set that up. I understand them having her go for it. It's a new belt. She never had it. I think it also works just because you think of how loaded that women's roster is on Monday nights. They don't necessarily need her going for the main event scene right now.
Right.
You can, but at this point you don't really need it. So I'm all right with having her do something with the IC title for the meantime, in between time, before they eventually move on. She will eventually be back in that main event scene. Just for right now, not really.
Oh, I agree.
I think where it would have worked better is if you would have had the match on WrestleMania, have Becky going for the pin. Liv, Raquel, doesn't matter in this instance. Whoever on the opposing team isn't getting pinned comes in for the interference to stop the pin. Lyra comes in to try and stop him, accidentally knocks Becky out of the way and off of the pin. stopping would have been a guaranteed 1, 2, 3. And then it leads to Liv and Raquel retaining their belts. And then Becky snaps on her. Then I would have been okay with it.
Yeah, I could see that.
I'm all right with that instance. Like I said, I have no issue with them turning Becky Lynch heel and doing whatever it is they want to do with her storyline. I just have issue with having the moment, having them stand in the ring. Oh, look at Lyra Young in her career, and she's already 2 champ. She's already got 2 belts. And only to reverse it 24 hours later. I just don't agree with the way they set it up.
It was a bad call.
Yeah.
Bad call.
Then you get to the main event of night 2. This was the singles match for the undisputed WWE Championship, and emerging victorious, winning via pinfall, as well, I think everyone would have figured. John Cena defeated Cody Rhodes in 21 minutes and 40 seconds.
Well, we all knew this was coming. There was no real shock, but how we got there, disappointing. Disappointing on many levels. We've been really building up Cody Rhodes to be the next coming, so to speak, of John Cena, if you will. The face of the company, the unstoppable force that does the right things. And yet, in this circumstance, John Cena just runs roughshod for the most part. But the big thing that I think hurts this match, well, one of the big things I should say, rather.
Yeah.
You don't have The Rock, who you've been teasing forever and a day, the final boss.
Yep.
End all be all. He's the one that is bringing a lot of the attention to the show. He's the one he's the one that got Cena's soul, if you will.
Everyone figured he was going to be there. They started selling shirts on Monday because the WWE zone was open on Monday, saying finally The Rock has come back to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So wasn't there.
So he wasn't there for reasons.
Which everyone figured he was too busy because he's doing the film with Martin Scorsese out in Hawaii. Turns out that's not the case.
No.
I have the case when we get to it.
Yeah. So he's not there. They send Travis Scott. Now listen, Travis Scott, great artist, does his thing.
Yeah.
But that's not equal value for the wrestling company. I'm
No.
sorry. Like when the wrestling fans want to see one of their favorites, they're not asking for Travis Scott in this moment.
Nope.
They're asking for The Rock. And the fact that Travis Scott got as much in ring time as he did is a little alarming. And the fact that he turned out to be the catalyst allowing John Cena to get momentum to win, that I got a problem with.
Yeah.
Because that is just way too much for a celebrity, a part-timer, if you will, at best,
Yeah.
to have that much of an impact on the biggest show of the year.
Yeah.
Did not like this at all.
No.
And then Cena after the press conference after was a joke. Everything he came out there like,
I'm just here so I don't get
I'm
fined.
going to adjust the media. Oh, that sounds like clickbait. I'm not going to talk about that. That sounds like
I figured he was just going to do like he did at the Elimination Chamber and drop the mic.
he should have. It would have been a million times better.
Or even just go, told you so, drop the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't need to do any of the theatrics he did. It was
No.
a waste of time at the press conference. The next night, Raw after Mania, he's explaining his thing. They've now retired the Universal Championship.
And you go to the site, it doesn't even acknowledge Cody was the Universal Champion. So technically the belt ended when Roman unified him.
Yeah. So it's a weird scenario,
Yeah.
to say the least. So Cena is basically counting down his days. There's 27 left, if I did my math right.
That's what he said on the show because he started naming off. It's 27 appearances. He doesn't have to wrestle. He just has to show up.
Yeah.
And it started with the number he had said at the start of the year and then started counting down all of his appearances. And at this point, it's 27.
Yeah. So he's basically saying, when you see me, you'll see me. Thank me when I'm there.
I mean, we know when he's going to be done.
Right. All know.
There's a Saturday night main event booked for Boston in December.
Yeah.
That's his last one.
It would be a safe bet,
Yeah.
barring anything weird happening.
True.
So that said, somebody was ready to address him, and that was one and only Randy Orton.
Oh, babe. Which, again, not a surprise. Backlash is taking place May 10th from St. Louis, Missouri. Remind me, where's Randy Orton from?
St. Louis.
Yeah, there you go.
So, yeah. So it makes as much sense as One would think.
Yeah.
So Randy's going to get the title shot, you would think, or whatever they're going to do.
I mean, he RKO'd the man in the middle of the ring. I think if anybody's getting the shot, it's him.
Yeah, held up the belt. So whatever they wanted to find it
Who better to be a legend than a legend killer?
Exactly. So it writes itself. So it was great in that concept. For Cody, we don't know what's going to happen now.
I think he goes away for a while because you got to figure from the time he won the Rumble before 39, had that whole run up, and then lost to Roman at 39. He hasn't taken any time off in like 2 years.
Right.
I think since he came back from the pec injury. So I think he's going to take some time off, go be a dad to his wonderful daughter, and he'll come back, I would say, probably SummerSlam.
I would say
he doesn't strike me as the type who would wait very long.
No, I could see him coming back in Money in the Bank.
That could be.
I think that could be an interesting scenario.
Yeah.
I could also see, as weird as this might sound, I could see him being the third member of Heyman's coalition.
Oh, that'd be wild.
Just to throw everybody off. Can't beat him, join him. I need help.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't going to go through The Rock to do it, so I'm going to go with people I know and I trust.
Yeah.
And, you could spin it something like that, and it would work.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one upside with that. But I think he comes back. I think he comes back as a heel. I don't know against who, though.
Right.
So I'm not going to say he comes back and takes out Punk or anything. But
right.
I could see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
But for the match itself, it was what, a quick nut shot, and that was over. The struggle to do the right thing.
Yeah.
The struggle to be the Boy Scout, and that was the catalyst for how the match ended. It left a bad taste in the mouth,
mm-hmm.
and it really ruined a very solid weekend of wrestling.
Right, and The Rock was on the Pat McAfee show today as we record, and did address why he wasn't there, and basically it was his call. He said, quote, "So when we were moving forward with John and this idea of him getting crowned at WrestleMania and becoming 17 and being a heel champion, I knew the best thing for the final boss. We've established this idea of Cody's soul. We can always come back to it. I did feel, and I made the call. I don't want to be involved in that. Step back, let the final boss step back into the shadows. Let all the spotlight go to John. Let it go to Cody. Let's not make it about Cody's soul or John's soul. No, let's let them do what they want, do what they do." And I called John after Elimination Chamber, spoke to him, called Cody, and I said, I think the final boss's work is done. We've established it. We've just pulled off the greatest angle in the history of professional wrestling, other than Hulk Hogan's turning heel back in the 90s. I said, this is amazing. We have 6 weeks now. Now let's build. You guys go and crush it, and I'll be right there with you, and I'm always here if you need me. But I think it's best for the final boss not to be involved in that finish. Close quote.
Bullshit.
Yeah, so if that's the case, why the fuck were you at Elimination Chamber? And I realize he's going with the quote of, Ari Emanuel asked him to be there because ticket sales weren't as good.
Stop. No, I mean, the whole thing is he has other things going on. Like, I understand he's The Rock, and
he's got a ridiculous filming schedule. Like, if you want to sit there and say, I couldn't be there because I was busy filming Martin Scorsese, and listen, Martin Scorsese's filming style is well documented on just how crazy it can be.
Yeah, I get it.
Ask Jonah Hill.
But own it. Own it.
Yeah. That's
the only thing, and you did not own it. You've been the one that more or less forced this whole storyline to happen.
You did the 1, 2, 3 at Bad Blood. Showed up for no goddamn reason, and then fucked off for however many months.
Yeah.
Only to show up on an episode of Raw and go, nah, brother. Cody and I smoothed everything out. It's okay. Doing the whole family shtick. We smoothed it out in the back. He went on Instagram Live and started doing shots of Terramana tequila with the man.
Yeah.
Only to turn around and go, I know I'm double crossing you, whatever the hell it is. Like, stop. Stop stroking your own ego.
Yeah, he just needs to stay away from it. If you're not going to be all in about it because of your schedule, like, listen, it's understandable and we get it. But for WrestleMania, you needed to show up for it.
Yep.
You didn't. So that's on you, and I think that played a big part of why this all failed.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're the key component to making this whole thing work with Travis Scott and John Cena.
John Cena had already won Elimination Chamber before you walked out there.
Yeah.
The match was already set up. I think if Cena would have been a face and Cody would have been a face, I think everybody would have been okay with that. Granted, some would have complained. But I think everyone would have been okay. The majority would have been okay with that. And I think the majority would have been okay with Cena winning. Like, hey, it's understandable. It's Cena. It's Cena's last Mania. It makes sense.
Yeah. So
the only person not okay with it, probably Ric Flair.
Right. Which, I mean, we'll probably hear about during the week here because I know that obviously the dust is settling now. There'll be a couple days off from WWE programming until Friday and SmackDown. So there'll be a lot of stories going on. WWE NXT tonight should have something.
Cool.
Hopefully making some buzz, but obviously
If you haven't seen the main event from Stand and Deliver, go watch that.
Yeah, I know we didn't talk about Stand and Deliver. Stand and Deliver was fantastic.
Stand and Deliver, some of the best matches of the weekend.
Yeah, so you definitely want to make sure to check that out if you can.
Also, Booker T probably slept on the couch after.
Yep.
That's all I'm going to say.
If you know, you know. But overall, I mean, WrestleMania came and went. Not as big as last year by any stretch of the imagination.
No, but I was talking to a friend about this. Like, I didn't necessarily need the same ending as we got last year. I didn't need Avengers Endgame, WWE Part 2.
Yeah.
But I was expecting more.
Yeah, this one just fell flat.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody remembers the key match finishes.
Yeah.
And for a lot of your main events, quote unquote, they didn't deliver.
Yeah.
And I think the only ones we can say really delivered was the women's three-way match.
Yep.
The men's three-way match between Punk, Rollins, and Roman.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a couple moments here and there, but I think for overall, it was a letdown. I mean, if we have to put a letter grade on it, I give it a C+.
Yeah, I would say C+ or even a C. Just because night one was meh until you get to the main event. Main event was great. Night 2 was great until you got to the main event, and then the main event was meh.
Yeah. But that's why we'll be commenting about what is going to be happening now in the fallout, because it's still resonating this week. It's taken over social media. If you're a pro wrestling fan, this is what you're talking about. And we want to talk to you about it. So hit us up on the hashtag ODPHpod. WrestleMania 41 is in the books. What is your reaction? And if you even want more of a deep dive, Wrestling Night Live happens every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Nerd Initiative YouTube. Join the chat, give your thoughts, and let's talk about it, shall we? But first, we're going to get a quick break. We'll be right back.
Do you like comic books?
What about movies and TV shows?
Well, we may be the show for you.
We're Hops Geek News, a weekly podcast that discusses comics, movies, and TV shows while featuring a beer of the week.
Every week, we chat about what we messed up on the week before, and then we dive into what we're reading and watching, as well as some news.
We then wrap it up with a geek-themed topic of the week.
You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts by searching Hops Geek News.
Cheers.
The content you are listening to is part of the Nerd Initiative Podcast Network. For more info about the home of pop culture positivity, check out nerdinitiative.com.
Coming back for another segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast, and it's finally here if you're an NFL fan.
Mm-hmm.
The day, or days, shall I say, that make or break your franchise for at least 5 years, if not longer.
Uh-huh.
The NFL draft is taking place.
Yep.
So, Pat, you got the info for us?
Yes, so taking place this Thursday through Saturday, I believe it is. Or no, sorry. Yeah, Thursday through Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
From Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where, hey, if you're going to be in attendance, Thursday night, you might want to bring a jacket. It's supposed to be 44 degrees. After that, not too bad. Will be raining Friday, though. It'll be the NFL draft, which takes place every year around this time of year. They've last couple of years they've switched up the venue out of being in Radio City Music Hall every year, which hey, it's added for some fun antics.
Yes. So obviously the draft is going to be rocking and rolling.
Yep.
And there's to be honest with you, there really isn't that many storylines going on
Outside
this year.
like the top 5 or 6.
Right. So this year's coverage might be a little different than if you're a longtime ODPH listener for.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously when you get out of that first 5 pick range,
Yeah.
it's pretty much a wide open field.
Mm-hmm.
And it just depends on who wants to take what. Because there's been so much hype surrounding the first 3 teams. I think this might be the first time in recent memory.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else has been overshadowed.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Unless that's your team and you're obviously on top of things.
Right.
So what we're going to do is just break down the top 5. And then maybe if a team is jumping up that we might think might be involved in the mix for one of the key players that in this year's draft, we're going to kind of mention them and obviously give our picks for our team.
Mm-hmm.
So, Pat, that said, number 1 pick has already been confirmed.
Basically.
It's a lock.
Yep.
Who we got?
Cam Ward, quarterback from the Miami.
Yes, so he is going to be going to the Tennessee Titans.
Yep.
Tennessee is a very messy situation right now.
Oh, boy.
They're not the team led by Mike Vrabel. This team has gone through a rebuilding phase and then some.
Yeah.
You have to make a big move here.
Mm-hmm.
Cam Ward makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I would say out of everybody in this draft, he is probably the day one ready.
Yeah.
Most potential, I guess I would say, of anybody on this draft.
Yeah.
So if you're going to put him in there, albeit though, if you had the chance, I would sit him. I don't think that every quarterback is going to come in there and light the league on fire.
Right. And I mean, you look at the situation they've got at their depth chart. Their current listed starter is Will Levis.
Yeah.
After that, it's Brandon Allen and Tim Boyle. So, I don't know. We'll see. But, I mean, you look at the team as it's currently made up. They've got Tony Pollard at the running back, Calvin Ridley as the wide receiver, Traylon Burks also there, Van Jefferson at the wide receiver, Chig Okonkwo is their tight end. So, I mean, stop me if any of these guys are lighting up your fantasy teams the last couple of years.
Well, that's the whole point, that they're not.
Yeah.
Tennessee has just been a shamble of itself. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why it wound up with the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
Technically, it should have been the New York Giants, but they decided to win a game late and threw everything in off the rails.
Yeah, I mean, so the Titans obviously need all that in a bag of chips.
Yeah.
But I don't fault them for taking a quarterback with the number 1 pick.
I don't mind them taking Ward.
No.
If they had taken another quarterback, I definitely would have had issue, which I'll get into as we talk about this draft. If they had gone with 2 other players here, I would have been okay too, because you need either an elite pass rusher or you need somebody dynamic on the offensive side of the ball. If you're not going to get a quarterback, there's only one player that you could have got in this position that would make a ton of sense. But they're going to be 2 of the players that we're mentioning in the next 2 picks, because now this is the true storyline of the NFL draft.
Right.
Cleveland has the number 2 pick.
This is true.
The New York Football Giants have the number 3. Now, both were heavily tied to Cam Ward, more the Giants than the Browns.
Right.
So now Ward is off the board. Like we say, it's been widely confirmed that Tennessee is going to take him first.
Yep.
So either you have something really crazy, like the Giants mortgaged the farm and then some to move up to number 1, or you're going to have Cleveland and the Giants listening for anybody that wants to jump up and make them a deal they can't say no to. Now, we do know that there is at least 3 players that are circulated around this pick. The first is Abdul Carter, the linebacker from Penn State.
Yep.
We do know Travis Hunter, who I think personally is the best athlete in this draft.
Wants to play both wide receiver and cornerback.
Yep.
And says if he can't, he'll quit.
Well,
I'm paraphrasing.
We'll get into that in a little bit. But Travis Hunter, though, I think is the best player in this draft. From Colorado, he is up there.
Yep.
The third one, which has cooled off immensely, has been Shedeur Sanders, son of Deion Sanders, quarterback from Colorado. We played with Travis Hunter. So the Browns are in a very unique spot here.
Right.
They need a lot of help. Could they trade out with the Giants to move up to number 2 if they're worried that they're not going to have their pick there? Would you see a team a little lower in the mix that wants to make a big splash? Maybe the Jets, maybe, I don't know, the Raiders. You have to think about teams that are in there, or even further down, where I could see, as wild as this sounds, the team at number 12, the Dallas Cowboys, making a move up here.
Jerry does like to shock and awe.
I don't know if he has enough assets to do it, but I think for where they know Philadelphia is, they have to make a big splash this draft. And if they don't get playmakers, this is going to be a problem. And I know that obviously with Deion Sanders being a factor in this, with obviously Coach Hunter and his own son, that's going to play a factor in what team decides to take him. So we have to keep that in mind as we're talking.
Yes.
So if everybody stays stat put right now, who do you think Cleveland is going to take?
I think they're going to end up taking Travis Hunter from Colorado, the wide receiver cornerback combo. I mean, listen, they've got a mess at quarterback, but there's 3 guys there who, 2 of which I can see as a starter. The third one, Lord knows, on any given Sunday. If you know who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about. And I think that's one that, like, okay, they've got Jerry Jeudy as one of their wide receivers, Cedric Tillman, Michael Woods the second is there as well. So, and I think whether he'll play both sides or not, I don't know. I'm not a head coach. I'm not necessarily that in tune with like all the ins and the outs of that. So whether he does or not, we'll see. But I think it's ultimately a need Cleveland needs, and it's something that, like, okay, hey, listen, if Joe Flacco, because they've got Joe Flacco under contract for at least this year, maybe next year, you need to give him somebody to throw the ball to. And Judy's fine, but he's not exactly a number 1. You need a number 1.
They need a number one. Mm-hmm. And I would say this. I don't think they take Travis Hunter here.
Okay.
I mean, if I was the GM, would I? Yes. Do I think they want to deal with the headache that he's promising?
Hey.
That's another ball of wax. And especially they've had to deal with enough bad PR for one player in particular that I don't know if they want to go back down this route with another player acting in a very different manner.
If you know, you know.
But becoming a headache for this team. And especially they're in a rebuilding phase.
Mm-hmm.
So is Travis Hunter the right fit here? I'm going to say no, and I think they go with Abdul Carter.
Okay.
I think that they take him and bolster that defense.
That would be a scary defense.
Oh, that's what I think. You need to do that, and especially in a team, in a league that you have faced Derrick Henry twice a year with Lamar Jackson.
Right.
You have to face the Bengals, who have at least one more year. Well, actually, no, they've got a couple now with their tandem. I mean, granted, they're all offense. They're not defense.
Right.
And then Pittsburgh, we don't know what's going to happen with them this year.
Right.
I think I would go there because obviously Myles Garrett's staying put. Mm-hmm. Shocking everybody, but he's staying put.
Hey, listen, money talks.
Yeah, but pair him with Carter, and I think that you've got something to really build that can frighten some defenses or offensive coordinators. And I think you can go get value in the draft later in this position. Mm-hmm. So that's where I would go.
Right.
3 is where I think this could get very, very messy.
Yeah, because it's the Giants. It's Mara. He's played second fiddle for how many years now? Well, not even second fiddle, third or fourth fiddle in this whole division. Mm-hmm. You've got the Eagles who won the Super Bowl this past year. You've got the Washington Commanders who are on the upswing. Dallas is mentioned every single week during the NFL season, regardless of how they're doing, win, lose, or otherwise. And the Giants, well, they're most known for the moment on the offseason Hard Knocks last year, where John Mara said he wouldn't be able to sleep well if Saquon Barkley went to Philly. And lo and behold, that's what happened. But that's probably what they're best known for these days. Listen, I think it's going to be interesting what they do. I know this isn't what everybody's going with. I think they're going to end up taking Shedeur, just because I'm looking at their quarterback situation. Mm-hmm. They've got Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and Tommy DeVito on their roster right now. Russell Wilson signed a 1-year deal. So that next year, unrestricted free agent. Winston signed before Russell did and signed a 2-year deal, but there's a but here. There's a potential out after next year. And then you get to Tommy DeVito, Tommy Cutlets, 1-year deal. So very potentially the Giants next offseason will be in the exact same goddamn position they were at the start of this offseason. You've got a 50 whatever man roster. Well, no, it'd be 50 because you're down 3 players. Those 3 players, you're quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. They would have no quarterbacks. They need a quarterback. They need somebody to, develop and build and get in the system that's better than Daniel Jones, although Christ, that ain't hard these days. And I think it's ultimately going to be, I think the whole, they don't view Shedeur as a top 3 draft pick. I think it's smoke and mirrors. I think they're listening like, hey, listen, it's already going to be a circus in that media with that team, no matter who they pick. It's the New York media. They've been playing third, fourth fiddle to the entire division. They've been playing second fiddle to the Jets, and the Jets haven't done any better than they did the last couple of years. Yeah. That was only because Aaron Rodgers was there the last 2 years. I think they're tired of playing second fiddle in their own media market. I think they're tired of playing third or fourth fiddle in their own division, and they're going to look at developing for the future, hopefully.
I'm going to say this. I think you're right, but I think you're wrong at the spot.
Okay.
I fully think they're taking Travis Hunter here for the same reasons you said about Sanders.
Okay.
They need a star. Yeah. They need somebody, obviously.
Well, they got Malik Neighbors, who's decent.
Right.
After that, it's a steep drop off.
But you pair Neighbors with Hunter.
Yeah.
Okay. You're going to get somebody to throw him the ball, whether it's Wilson or Jameis Winston. Somebody's going to heave it downfield. They're going to get stats. They're going to look like the best wide receiver tandem in the league.
Sure.
But where I think this gets really interesting is the team that everybody is predicting, and I will say this, barring any wild move happening, is I think Sanders is going to be hovering around that 21st pick. I personally don't think he's a first-round quarterback. I don't. Because what did you win when you were in college? you have a lot of a reputation of, having potential, but are you ready to go in game one and do this?
Right.
Do I see him going in there and changing the culture of what is New York? Not yet. However, if the Giants want to make that big splash like you were referring to, I could see them trading back in to the draft. And I could see them moving somewhere either with a Tampa Bay at 19 or even Denver at 21 before Pittsburgh gets a chance.
Right.
That's where I see them coming back in and getting Sanders because they're going to want to make something happen. Because Joe Sheehan knows this is make or break for him and Dable.
Sure.
That's it. Like, this is it. If they do not show something here, it's a wrap. It's done.
Yeah, I agree with
That's where I think they come back in. I think they're going to do something bold because they have to do something bold.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what I think. But I think Travis Hunter is too good of a player. He doesn't escape the top three. And then you're going to have to deal with a lot of Dion, but I think that they want those headlines. We talk about this with the Yankees and the Mets all the times.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like a little role reversal because the Giants were always the biggest headline in New York during football season. The Jets were an afterthought. It's now been reversed,
right?
Because the Jets actually look like the same franchise, or more stable, I should say, in my opinion.
Wild
to think, but the Giants have been so far removed of like contendership that now it's like they need a big splash to win back that attention. And I think trying to pull that off, as crazy as it might sound, it's not out of the realm of thought. Granted, they would mortgage the draft, which is insane.
Right.
But we've seen teams do this before.
Oh, yeah.
Cleveland did it a few years ago, trading back in to go get, and like I say, if they traded low enough in number 20, that's a move you can do. Or hell, they might even go 21 and try talking to Pittsburgh.
Sure.
I could see that too, because the one thing about Sanders, like I alluded to, I don't see him being that quarterback that's going to change the game day one. He is somebody that has potential. Don't get me wrong, very talented player. But where do I rank him as a number one or first round quarterback? No, I don't. Right. I think he's a great day two quarterback.
Right.
Second round, third round. Yeah, I mean, he's not going to make it to the third round. He'll get taken by second. But I don't think at this stage, I think that this is where I would go Travis Hunter.
Okay.
And then you go back in and go get Sanders if you really think he's the guy.
Right.
So
we'll see. Next up is with the number 4 overall pick is my New England Patriots. Listen, this is going to be a real interesting one. You got a new head coach, Mike Vrabel, in there, who's certainly shaking up things between the coaching staff, all of the offseason additions. I think where he's going to ultimately end up going with this is I would love Abdul Carter to come here. Because, boy, Mike Vrabel in defenses and Abdul Carter, that'd be a monster. So that's where my heart is.
Yeah.
Where my head, though, I think he's going to go with Will Campbell, the offensive tackle from LSU. Just because, listen, the one thing Vrabel has said repeatedly this offseason, he wants to build a winning team, and he wants to give Drake May everything he can to succeed. What is the one thing he needs to succeed? Stable offensive line. What has he not had since he entered the NFL? A stable offensive line. Multiple games he has been running for his life and trying to make passes and make plays on the fly. Doesn't really work. So you have Will Campbell, who's the offensive tackle from LSU, come in. I think he would slot in very well at left tackle, who currently their left tackle is Viridian Lowe, who was a 6th round pick in 2022 out of Illinois. It doesn't look like he's ever played a game in the NFL in going on 3 years. So let's face it, it's not exactly a downgrade to go get Will Campbell there. I think it might be an upgrade, because clearly something, I don't know what, but clearly for whatever reason Lowe hasn't played. So I think they go with the offensive tackle and add Drake May some support.
I think it'd be smart to get him. And this is where I see him going to. I think unless Travis Hunter falls this way, which I was strongly doubt.
I'd be questioning people's sanity.
Oh my God, we'll have a take of takes for next week's show if that happens. No, this is going to be Campbell. The one thing Vrabel does is build offensive lines. That's why Derrick Henry had the Hall of Fame career he did in Tennessee.
Right, and I know some Patriots fans are throwing out Ashton Genty from Boise State.
No.
Ramondre Stevenson's already there.
Well, that's the whole thing. It doesn't matter if you build that offensive line. It doesn't really matter.
Right.
So I think that Vrabel's going to do that because Vrabel has to protect his quarterback.
Yep.
And especially if he's going to have Stephon Diggs on that sideline, Diggs is going to want the ball every down. And how he works with a rookie quarterback, essentially, that is going to be another dynamic that I think Vrabel needs to keep his quarterback upright to at least calm down Diggs because Diggs is going to be chirping a lot.
Probably. We'll see. Next up with the number 5 overall pick is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Whew. Now, this is a one that, honestly, they could literally take anybody. Literally. And I am going to go out on a limb, and I think they're going to take the wide receiver from Arizona. I apologize. I'm going to butcher his name. Tatoria
Oh, okay.
McMillan.
Yeah.
I think they go for him because their new head coach is obviously Liam Cohen, former OC of Tampa Bay.
Right.
What is Tampa Bay known for? Their wide receiver
It's
core.
like good wide receivers.
Yeah. So, and I think if you're going to have Travis Lawrence do anything, obviously Brian Thomas Jr. was the diamond in the rough last season. Travis Etienne, who knows what we're going to get out of him.
Yeah, not stellar numbers last year. Speaking from experience, had him on fantasy.
Right. So I think in this circumstance, you get another elite wide receiver. You can make some plays. You'll have the offense like the Arizona Cardinals did with Bolden and Fitzgerald. But that's fine. They'll win you games until you can get somebody better. I just don't see. I know that Janty is the big pick here. I think Janty goes to the Raiders next round. I think that if there's one thing that's for certain, I think he goes to the Raiders.
Oh, okay. I could see that. I think ultimately, though, where they're going to go is I think this is where you see Ashton Genty from Boise State go. I realize they've got ETN Jr. on the roster, but I just looked it up. He's in the last year of his contract. And I think the production just hasn't been there necessarily what they would like. You know, you look at what he did last year, 150 carries, 558 yards, and only 2 touchdowns. So, not the best, you know, and that was having played 15 games. For receiving, he caught 39 balls on 52 targets, 254 receiving yards, no touchdowns. So not exactly, you know, his career high for rushing was his rookie year in 2022, where he had 220 carries, over 1,100 yards rushing, and 5 touchdowns. You know, and then he had another 1,000-yard season the year after, and then it fell in half. Yeah. So I just don't think it's there, and I think they're ready to get something different. And I think that's ultimately where you're going to see Ashton Genty go, because you can do a 1-2 punch of him and ETN Jr.
Oh, sure.
While Genty kind of learns the system and learns the way the NFL goes, and then just go full tilt next year.
I just know with Cohen, I'm still not sold on the move of him being a head coach.
Sure.
So I think he's going to go to whatever his comfort zone is, and
Sure.
that's wide receivers.
Sure.
But I could be wrong. And like I said, Raiders, I think are going to get Genty.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know what you're thinking.
I'm thinking they're going to go offensive tackle. I think they're going to get the guy from Missouri, Armand Membu.
Okay, I can see that.
So they got to get somebody to protect Geno Smith.
Yeah, if they don't go get Genty, they're going to build that line. So whatever the offensive line is the best one available. Armand would be a great one. I know Calvin Banks from Texas. He'd be another great one there too. I could see either or happening there.
Sure.
And then obviously the Jets are going to be building up their offensive line.
I mean, they could. I could also see them going for Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State, who's a stud. Just saying. 104 catches, 1,200 yards receiving last year, 8 touchdowns, averaged 11 yards a catch.
See,
dude's a stud.
I could see that. I could see that too. I mean, that's one thing. Aaron Glenn and the whole team there.
I forget what the record was. He broke some Penn State receiving record that was set by Pat Fremuth.
Yeah,
who's now with Pittsburgh.
Well, that's the one thing. The Jets have a real wide open playbook.
They really do,
and especially now with their new head coach in tow with Aaron Glenn, like he's going to want to build up a monster. Like
you mean Aaron Rodgers' favorite head coach?
Yeah, exactly. Like he's going to want to make sure there's no nonsense here. So
if you haven't seen that clip, look it up.
Yeah, it's epic. And that's why I say they need that for the Jets. So that's why I say they're good. I think that's why they go offensive line. It's not to say Warren is a bad pick because he isn't. But I think they're going to want to do something to that offensive line.
They'll probably go offensive line just because they lost their one Morgan Moses in the offseason.
Yeah, so we'll have to see, like I say. And like I was going with, whichever is the best offensive lineman available, that's where they're going here on the board. Because this is a very deep one for that.
Oh, yeah.
Carolina's next up on the board. I mean, obviously, not too much to
they really need everything in the kitchen sink.
They need everything. I know Jalen Walker has been the name tagged in this position. I think that's a smart pick, too.
Probably.
So I would not mind seeing this.
If there was a singular bad thing about the Carolina Panthers last season, their defense was surely at the top of that list.
Yeah, so I definitely see him going there, or Mason Graham from Texas or Michigan.
Yeah.
I could see that happening, too.
Yeah. They're almost assuredly going defense.
Yeah. New Orleans is a crapshoot. I mean, obviously
best available. Probably.
I mean, Derek Carr being out, this could be a possible landing spot for Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
I think they would overpick here.
Probably.
I think that they need to fix their offensive line, or they need to fix everything. So I could see them going either lineman here of somebody available, or I could see them going Mason Graham if he's still on the board.
Yeah.
I could see that. It all depends what Carolina is, because Carolina is an actual wild card. We don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
And then closing out the top 10, the Bears. Listen, I think this one is as easy of a pick as you can think of.
Yeah.
Because who did their new head coach last year?
I don't even know who the coach was.
He was the he was the offensive coordinator of one Detroit Lions.
Oh, okay.
And they relied so heavy on Sam Laporta.
Mm-hmm.
I fully think they're going Tyler Warren here. I know you mentioned him for the Jets. I think this is probably the safest bet of a lock, and especially with Caleb Williams, you get a tight end to bail him out, and somebody that is that talented. It's scary what to think what Ben Johnson's going to do with this offense. Like they're going to be the bounce back team of the year. Mark my words. I'm already giving the early prediction.
It could be,
barring any injuries happening.
I mean, at the same token, though, I wouldn't fault. I think if Tyler Warren doesn't go where I said he would, I fully see him going here. Although, if the Bears were smart, they'd get Caleb some help, because the man was sacked fucking 68 times last season, which was by far and away number one in the NFL.
Yeah.
The only one closer was C.J. Stroud, who was sacked 52 times. Geno Smith was sacked 50 times.
Yeah, but you know what? I think though with the talent on the board, they're going to think offense. They're going to They're literally going to just be like much like the Bengals.
Yeah.
As weird of a comparison as is, they're really going to try doing that. They're going to try outscoring everybody, and that's first and foremost. Like they're not going to care about defense or protecting the quarterback. Just get the ball out of the hands.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wild gamble, but listen, it might work. Who knows? And then just very quickly, I mean, I know that we got to shout out Dallas.
Yeah.
Very quickly, because I know Dre Driven is going to be listening. Shout out to Dre. I think they go for playmaker for Dak. I see him going Michael Golden.
Okay.
Wide receiver from Texas.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah.
But they need a lot of stuff happening there.
Yeah, they do.
And then, obviously, we got to flip it to the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, yeah. You're going to be waiting a while. They're picking, what is it, like number 30?
They're picking 30. But obviously, like they're in a good position.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not super worried about it. I think they're going to go defense. Their offense is fine. I know James Cook did not show up to OTAs or early practices now.
Right.
Listen, I'm not surprised. I'm not even fazed by it. The fact that he thinks he's going to get Saquon Barkley money. Listen, I think Cook is a great running back. He's not going to get paid that much.
No.
If anything, they'll restructure his contract. He'll get a big signing bonus, and that's it. Or they're going to move him.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could move him draft night. I would say that. It's not out of the realm of thought.
Yeah.
They'll do a running back by committee if they need to.
Yeah.
But in this position, I think they go defense. Till Tre'Davious White got re-signed. I was saying they were going to go cornerback, but I think they go defense, and I think maybe they bolster the defensive line. I know the name that's been thrown around with them is Kenneth Grant from Michigan. He'd be a great pick. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if they're going to inevitably face Kansas City for the 103rd time in 5 years, they need some way to try and get to Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't doubt Walter Nolan here too if they stay there as well from Ole Miss. But I think that they're going to bolster the defense one way or another. I think that's where they're focused on.
Right.
And like I say, there's a lot more storylines that are going on, I guess, for your specific teams out here. But this is the ones that have been really driving for us.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, like, this has been the only thing to really keep an eye on. This is a pretty deep draft for offensive line.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
So you're going to hear a lot of names fly in the second round.
Oh, yeah.
But as far as skill players, I mean, the wide receiver position, there's only a couple elite, and then it does a drop-off. Same thing with running back.
Mm-hmm.
And then quarterback, I mean, Shedeur Sanders is the big X factor. I could see him falling out of the top 10 or top first round.
Probably.
I could see that. I know that he's been tagged to the Steelers. He's been tagged to the Saints.
Which, I mean, listen, at this point, I wouldn't fault Pittsburgh for taking Shedeur.
No, if he's going to sit behind Aaron Rodgers.
You got Mason Rudolph. Well, that's if Rodgers decides to play this year.
Well, it's money talks. I think they're going to want to go in and make a statement with him. So, but that's why we're going to be watching the draft and recapping it next week. So we gave you our picks, ODPH Society. Now here's up with yours. Let us know what you're thinking. The NFL draft is taking place this week, starting Thursday night. And we want to know your picks, how your team is shaping up, who do you want to see them take. And then, obviously, we're going to be recapping all through the weekend on social media. So hit us up. Let us know. We're going to get our final breakout. We'll be right back.
This is Tom from Tom Joe Lou,
This is Matt from Sideroom Sounds.
and you're listening to ODPH Podcast.
Wanna go where no one knows my name, to the desert, the oceans, or the plains. 'Cause I wanna go.
Coming back for the final segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast. Pad, what you got?
Just got the local minute. It's been a bit of a quiet week for sports this week. I'm going to mention the Binghamton Black Bears because they are in the midst of the Commissioner's Cup playoffs. That is the playoffs for the Federal Prospects Hockey League. They had a best of 3 game series this past weekend against the Watertown Wolves, where they won both of those games over the weekend to sweep the series. They won the game on Friday up in Watertown by the final score of 3-2. Came back home for the deciding game, won by the final score of 4-0. So now they have another best of 3 game series in the semifinals going up against the Port Huron Prowlers. So again, that's a best of 3 series. Game 1 is taking place on Friday, April 25th, 7:05 p.m. Eastern. That'll be in Port Huron, Michigan. And then Saturday, April 26th at 7 o'clock Eastern will be Game 2. That'll be back here in Binghamton at the Visions Veterans Memorial Arena. Game 3, if necessary, will be Sunday, April 27th at 6 o'clock Eastern. And then they wait, if they happen to make it through on the other side, the winner between the best of 3 series between the Carolina Thunderbirds and the Columbus River Dragons. So we'll have to check that out. But for more tickets, information, all that good stuff, BinghamtonBlackBears.com. Then we got to mention the Binghamton Rumble Ponies, because looking at the standings for the Eastern League here in AA, you've got Hartford in first place with a record of 9-5. Binghamton actually played some games last week, so they're in second place with a record of 7-6. Portland is tied with them with the same record. You've got New Hampshire right behind them with a record of 6-6. Somerset is in second to last with a record of 6-9, and then you've got Reading in last place with a record of 5-10. Last week, the Rumble Ponies were on the road playing the Reading Fightin' Phils. They lost the game on Tuesday by the final score of 12-2. Lost on Wednesday by the final score of 7-4. Came back Thursday though, won 6-2. Won on Friday by the final score of 6-5, and then won on Saturday by the final score of 6-1 before closing out the series with a 3-2 win on Sunday. They have a home series this week against the New Hampshire Fisher Cats. They got a game on Tuesday, which is taking place as we record. They've got the game on Wednesday at 6:07 p.m. Eastern. That one will be a We Care Wednesday, which is where they feature a local nonprofit organization making a difference in their community. Thursday, they have a doubleheader, which is going to be, the second game is going to be a makeup of the April 5th game that was postponed at New Hampshire. Game 1 will be Throwback Thursday, and that's where they're going to be playing as the Binghamton Mets. Breaking out those old jerseys. Hey, maybe, you never know, maybe see the old mascots show up. So game 1 is scheduled at 12 o'clock Eastern. Game 2, if I remember minor league baseball correctly, will be probably like 30 to 45 minutes after
Something like that,
game
yeah.
1 ends. They'll tell you if you go to the game. Friday, April 25th is 6:07 p.m. game start. There will be fireworks that night. It's also Ruby's birthday celebration. That's one of the mascots they have for the team. So they will be throwing a pregame birthday party with cake and party favors. So there will be some of the local mascots, including the SUNY Broom Stinger mascot, Andy the Armadillo from Texas Roadhouse, Baxter the Bearcat from Binghamton University, Sir Victor E. Knight is going to be there, the Arctic Bear, Red from Red Robin is going to be there. I didn't even know Red Robin had a mascot. Holy cow. Sparty from the Maynardwell School District, Scooch from the Syracuse Mets is going to be there. Boomer of the Williamsport Crosscutters, Buddy the Bee, Ballwinkle, and Bingo are going to all be there. Holy cow.
They're loading it up, man.
Oh, by the way, a certain celebrity couple will be there. One would call them a power couple. Mr. and Mrs. Met are going to be there.
Ooh.
So if you're not doing anything Friday night, you got some celebrities in town.
That'll be a big deal.
Absolutely. Then Saturday is at 1:05 p.m. Eastern. That one is got a couple promotions going on that is halfway to Halloween. Goblins, witches, vampires, and more assemble at Mirabito Stadium for a celebration of halfway to Halloween. Hey, if you're missing out on trick-or-treating, well, they're going to be doing some pregame trick-or-treating at the stadium. All kids 12 and under, come one, come all to Mirabito Stadium in your Halloween costume best for a pregame trick-or-treating event on the concourse before the game from 12 p.m. to 1:30. Table vendors include the Binghamton Baseball Booster Club, the Binghamton Police Department, Broome County Library, Casella, Crime Victims Assistance Center, Four Horse Digital, Greater Good Grocery, Meldrum's Paint, Marabido Energy Products, Sunny Sips Lemonade, Texas Roadhouse, The Children's Home, and Upstate Services. There's also going to be a costume contest, and they're going to be wearing great pumpkin specialty jerseys. So that's obviously in tribute to the classic Charlie Brown special. It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown. So that'll be going on, and then also they will have a trick or treat bucket giveaway. So hey, even if you don't show up in your costume best, you'll have a bucket for Halloween coming up in October. And then Sunday is at 1:05 p.m. Eastern, and that is a Kids Eat Free Sunday. So for more tickets, information, all that good stuff, bingrp.com.
Yes, baseball season is full swing, so go see the minor league baseball, go see Major League Baseball.
Absolutely.
I know we're not doing a full recap, but obviously not a lot of storylines really moving the needle per se.
No.
NBA playoffs are obviously going on too right now, and we'll have a little more recap next week. But the big story to close out the show is one that I was elated to hear. I don't really celebrate people getting fired, but the New York Rangers did so poorly this year that they needed to do a switch up. And it all starts with the head coach. So Peter Laviolette was relieved of his duties.
One of the assistants was too, right?
Yeah, they have done a little bit of house cleaning with the Rangers. So he leaves after 2 seasons, along with his assistant head coach, Phil Housley. So the team did not make the playoffs, and obviously the big reasons why, obviously they played absolutely atrocious this year.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of factors going on. Chris Drury, the GM, allegedly was not helping matters with the team. And I think that they needed to do a fresh start. I mean, this is one thing when Laviolette was coming to the team. I know I personally wasn't super excited. He usually has like a two season window, and then usually something happens and the team kind of starts tanking a little bit. Just my opinion, folks. Just my opinion. Seeing it. So now the question mark is who's going to come in to pick up the pieces. Joel Quenneville is the one name that I keep hearing is getting a lot of push for. I would be perfectly fine with Quenneville coming in. John Tortella coming back, I would also be happy about for those post-game speeches. Give me those post-game press conferences. I'm there all day. But it is a wide open net that I guess that's the terminology that's being used.
Yeah, that's the one I've heard.
Yeah, which I'm just like, that's kind of an odd thing to say, but they're basically doing a big range of coaching candidates. So I don't think they're going to make anything right away. I think they're going to kind of wait till the playoffs obviously are going on right now. So they'll maybe wait till most of them are done, or if there's a candidate they really want to talk to, they'll wait. Just depends on who's available to speak and not. But I would say Quenneville, I think, is my top pick for taking over as the head coach because they got to do something to shake it up. But I think, obviously, the Shesterkin contract deal was going on. Obviously, there was problems with Trouba in the locker room.
Yeah.
And with the brass at the office. So, I mean, somebody had to go, and when he's your captain, this happens. The Rangers have survived this before. They'll do it again. I think they're going to do some shakeups as well.
Word is Dolan might have more of a hand in things.
Well, as long as you get the team playing,
sure,
that's what matters. You have too much money invested in too many skilled players. They got to get somebody that's got some grit. Obviously they didn't let Rempe play, so that hurt them in the long run, in my opinion. Yeah, you need to have an enforcer out there. You need to have somebody that's willing to throw down on the ice. You need to have somebody, like I said, they got Kachuk to come. That would have been a big move. I really think that would have helped things. But you need to go out and find some player. If you can't find them in the draft, you need to have somebody that's going to show some grit, especially on this team, because that's the one thing they were lacking. I mean, they started hot and they just tanked. But I personally feel, just my unofficial opinion, is the Shesterkin contract was like the catalyst for more problems happening for reasons.
Right.
And I can't tell you why. I'm not going to attempt to. I just feel that with the minute that started coming out, that was causing problems. And then you had more people just start noticing a decline in play after that was all taken care of for whatever reason. It's coincidental in my opinion, but still it was something that...
the way these things happen.
It happened. So like I say, I just want to see them get back on the ice, come out swinging next season because they have to. The team is way too talented not to, and like I say,
absolutely.
So, and obviously they gotta get more production and better defense play too. I know that this was not a great season for that.
Oof, to say the least.
So hopefully the boys get back on the swing of things, and obviously hockey coverage here is done until then. So just we had to throw that.
You don't want me to run through the bracket right now?
No, because we have other things we need to do. Because if you follow the ODPH, you know exactly what's going on this week. So for anything and everything, it is the ODPH. You can find it at odphpodcast.com because that's it for sports this week. So for the one, only Padawan J.
Fuck the Astros.
I'm your host, Ken M. Thank you as always for listening to the ODPH podcast. See you next time.
It's such waste of time, swiping left and swiping right on people you could know. Cause anyone who's worth a damn be worth way more than a picture could ever show. You could find the right light, find the right angle, and never find your soul. And it can feel like a losing battle, and this plot is full of holes. This modern way of finding love just makes me feel so alone. And I can't be the only one sick of staring at my phone. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Don't know that I believe in the old time fable. Everyone has just one true love. All I know is you're across this table, and you're all I'm thinking of. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Talk to me. Talk to me. It's such waste of time, swiping left and swiping right on people you could know.